Hey guys, it's your boy Darty coming at you with another weekly analysis on the S&P and the Nasdaq. Already identified my volume area that I'll be looking at for a two-way trade on the S&P and the Nasdaq. So this past week we did have an auction up with both the CPI data release as well as Jay Powell on the microphone. So both of them aggressively pushed higher. Then we actually settled and built a volume higher, which my opinion, leading to continuation potentially. I'd like it to come down and potentially fill in some of this volume, but we have to take what the market gives us. So again, there's the weekly time frame. Really interesting that the point of control on the S&P is very close to the high side of this. That rotated higher. It built a lot of volume up here. Nasdaq sitting about the middle of it. So a biggie on that. So here is the composite, the 28-day composite rolling profile. Almost what I encompassed was the OFL's auto plot. So looking at the daily profiles, you can kind of see that it was pretty much the balance area of Friday's auction on both S&P and Nasdaq. Kind of encompassed that. So that's kind of where I'm looking at. So we go back to the composite profile. I think it gives it a little bit better detail. I'm really looking at about the high side of this 47.88, 89, 90 area, somewhere in there. Same thing on the NASDAQ. We could get up to this 880 area, but starting to have that awareness once we're getting about that 860. So somewhere within there, potential resistance where we could get some offers to push it back down. Same thing, this low volume area right here at about the 7.25, right here to 730 area, potential rebid area to drive this higher. Same thing on the S&P. Whoa. All right, there we go. So looking at about that 65, having an awareness of that little LVN, as well as this LVN at about that 55. So just having that awareness, we could two-way trade in there. Again, looking for this to have two-way trade within these balance areas. And then what are we going to do once we get out of these balance areas is what I'm interested in. If we come from this balance area, drive lower, break below the balance area, and back test, I'll be looking to trade this toward this 47.30 area. Same thing on NASDAQ. If we break below this 7.25 area, I'll be looking for a back test to drive it down into this 660, 650 area to see if we can eventually come down here to the 600 round number, somewhere in that ballpark, the initiation point of this initiative move. But if we can't get that, it is what it is. I will be looking, if we break higher than this, looking for a good drive up, back test, and then a drive higher. Same thing, ES, drive higher. We obviously have that 4,800 psychological number, and we could get to it. I'll see. There are some numbers that I looked at from the weekly. So your all-time highs sitting up around that 17,690. So we're definitely approaching those all-time highs, just like over here at about the 5,035 area. So definitely having that awareness. Over here, back about 2 years ago, this was a pretty good volume build right here, somewhere within this 4,800 to 5,000 range, but about a 200 point balance area. It could go right down to about where we are, where these wicks are at this 4750 area, almost where we're settling at. Same thing on NASDAQ, sitting at about this 650 all the way up to about 17,600, almost a 1,000 point range where they just kind of balanced back and forth and built volume for a few months right here before we started our leg down. Just having awareness of that since we're above this 650 area. Oh, hold on. So just kind of wanting to see that. Again, that's very, very big picture. Lean upon the MGI information that gets presented to you. especially waiting for Sunday to open, what overnight auction comes, everything like that. So therefore, gives you a little bit better idea of where you can put risk on the table, lean on. So let's see the pivot balance areas. So your pivot balance area is pretty much what we kind of have encompassed right here, about the 4790, the 4755-ish. The NASDAQ has it broken down into two separate zones, 880, about 820, and then about 780, about 700, just having that awareness. So that's all I'm really looking at. Got my value area, my volume zone that I'm looking at on both S&P and NASDAQ, looking for two-way trade within that. And then once it breaks out of that, that's where I'm looking to see which way we will go. Will we build, push and build, back test, push more, or will we push and fail, fall back into the volume area, and then go the opposite direction? Again, everyone trade safe, trade smart. If you have any questions or comments, you'll know how to get in touch with me. Thanks for tuning in.